Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Inside the World of Box Lacrosse, presented by CB's Cannabis Club in Salamanca, New York. Hello, everyone. My name is Trevor Butz. He is Greg Beecher. We are both so happy to be with you here to talk about all things Can-Am and First Nations Junior Lacrosse League here today. I'm excited to get into things here, Greg. What do you want to start with first, the Can-Am standings or the First Nation
I
standings?
would say the First Nation standings just because I happened to pull those ones up first as I was clicking through them. That, and I'm also super impressed with Tuscarora, the way they have battled through a lot of these close games, very rush like. But that being said, War Chiefs now have their team together. They're playing. Are they going to be able to hold on to it? Six Nations, credit to them. And when is Allegheny going to start winning?
Yeah, I don't know. They were in a very entertaining game against Tonawanda, which I'm sure we'll see in just a bit. That was a hard-fought battle from start to finish. Allegheny had a great start in that game, up 3-0 after the first period, but really after that it was all Tonawanda. They were shut out in that first period, but nine goals in the second and third to really vault them in front. And after that first period, the Braves were, you could tell, were a motivated team. Casey Jonathan, their head coach, had them running widthwise in the box after the period because he was not very happy with the amount of penalty minutes the team took in that first period, but they were able to figure it out and
It's
stay out of the penalty box to win
that
the game.
emotional style is very much part of Tonawanda, and it's a very fine line, and sometimes it costs them. The seniors program, you've seen them do that a lot. But with Tonawanda and Allegheny sitting down at the bottom, Allegheny, very much like the Firewolves, though, they've had a lot of bright moments, very close in a lot of games, and just have not been able to finish it.
And I know when you see the 1-6 record, you might think, man, that's really rough. That's not great.
No.
They're a good 1-6 team. Like, they have been pretty competitive in a lot of these games. And, if a few little things, go the other way, they could just as easily, have 3, 4, 5 wins on the season. But instead, they have one. Still plenty of time left in the year to pick up the wins. And, of course, as we head into playoff time, I imagine with it being 5 teams, everybody will get a shot at the playoffs. So you could still make a run here, but Allegheny definitely could have added more wins than they've got certainly right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, credit to Kebby. He's brought that program a long way. Last year, they barely had enough guys for most of the games. This year, they're able to, be competitive in the games. It's just kind of getting over that next hump, and it's a lot easier said than done. I mean, we both know that. And
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, that Six Nations team. I watched them though in that first game against Allegheny where they had a very big lead. So kudos to Allegheny for being able to really bring it back and start playing much better. So
I'm I'm excited to see this Six Nations Fire team. That's a team I haven't gotten to see too much of this year.
and
They
unfortunately
are
their internet's terrible, so Stamper doesn't get to cover as many of their games. He's doing mainly the senior games up there. But yeah, no, it's exciting to watch them. They're going to be a great team. They've got some legendary coaches up there, so I don't know, between Sturos and Paulus and Johnny Paulus, what are you gonna? Yeah, and let's get into the men's team now. I don't know if you watched any of that Allegheny. I'm sorry, the Tonawanda versus Grand River up in Six Nations there. But at the Brantford Civic Center, it was right after your game, I believe. I went right to the third period. Yeah, Grand River looking good. They have a great team now. Johnny Paulus, Marshall playing great. Yeah, kudos to them.
uh, Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it live as I was down in Tonawanda doing the junior game in their game against Allegheny, but did get to watch a little bit of it back. And yeah, this Grand River team is a whole different outfit than what we saw at the beginning of the year, as you said, with Johnny Marshall Paulus out there, and they've had a few other guys along the way that have been pretty good too. Guys like Keto Hill have really been impressive. Joe Miracle, I thought, looked really good when I saw him play earlier in the season. And there's some depth guys too,
Well,
like Todd Thomas as well, that has they're very impressive players.
That's what I was going to say. You always feel like you're leaving somebody out. Like if you're not talking Jake Bomberry, these teams are all so
There you
talented.
go.
That's what I mean. Like there's always somebody that's left out as you're talking about this. There is so much talent in the league. And I mean, we didn't even talk about Sam Firth playing for him now.
And that's a huge addition for Grand River, picking up a guy like Firth. I mean, it'll really help to round out their, their team and get them that balanced unit that they're looking for as they try to climb the standings. Grand River had a tough start to the year with, almost all of their games being on the road. Now they have the lion's share of their games at home at the Brantford Civic Center. If they can get cooking at home, look out for this Warriors team.
Absolutely. And I mean, Firth is a speed guy. I would say that seems to be the word of the year for Can-Am. Everybody wanted to get faster. Everybody knew they needed to get faster to keep up with it. I think a lot of that is the Allegheny transition team. I mean, we don't talk a lot about that. Frazier and Cluche will get all the credit. We've got a couple of highlights of Jesse Jimerson, but the guys that really fill out the defense for Allegheny, I think, is incredibly underrated.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Allegheny, they did help turn that into a bit of a track meet, the game against Onondaga a few nights ago when I was down there. And part of that has to do, like you said, with their transition. And they got guys like Frank Brown running up the floor. That really helps to push the pace in transition. And I know you, of course, mentioned, Fraser and Cluche, they're going to get a lot of the credit and a lot of the looks. But how about a guy like Christian Watts? I thought he was really good in that game as well.
He has been playing phenomenal since he's been, with the team this year. It's a name I learned very fast in the first game against Tonawanda. You're going to notice him out there on the floor. And I mean, you're not even talking about Lane Smith or the rest of the offensive parts. I saw Josh Becker was in that game again. I haven't seen him play yet this year. So, yeah, huge Allegheny's, again, any one of these teams you talk about, there's so much talent. You're leaving somebody out when you talk. So, yeah, Onondaga, how were they number-wise for the weekend? Because I know that's been a bit of a concern, especially on the travel game. So having a travel weekend like that's pretty tough.
Yeah, Onondaga was definitely pretty short-numbered in their first game against Tonawanda. Just kind of looking over at my roster here, maybe about 10 runners, not too many for that game. Definitely some talent on the floor with guys like Rio Johnson, John Pierce, Pete Benedict, Trevor Hill, Mason Homer. I mean, a lot of good players there. They were missing the captain, Creek Hathers, in that first game, but he was back for the second game against Allegheny. And they definitely had better numbers in that game, but it was still just a game pretty much controlled start to finish by Allegheny.
Yeah. And I mean, we might as well, I was thinking about it. I was like, we should just pull these highlights up while we're talking about all this.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Let's go for it.
That BTB goal at the end was insane.
Oh, yeah. Silas Jonathan had a great look with the behind the back shot. It was from quite a ways out, too. That was an impressive shot, but can't really take anything away from JP Frigola and everything he did for Onondaga in that weekend. My goodness, that man must have faced
120
well
shots.
over 100 shots in the weekend.
Or something like that.
Yeah, 120.
It was something insane over the weekend because he went through and I actually caught the stat of the amount of saves then. But yeah, huge thank you to Jason Pregel for doing the stats for us, keeping the shots. Anybody who doesn't know Mr. Pregel, he's one of these guys that contributes so much to the sport, kind of flies under the radar. He used to do the filming before we showed up to Tonawanda and we're filming it. And now he's back to filming it again, obviously. So that's really cool.
He was running the camera and tracking the shots, man. Guy can do it all.
He really can. It is crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, off the start here, they get going. Like you said, Frigola playing great. He had like 60 something saves. But this guy, I didn't get a chance to watch, and I don't know why this clipped out. They went out of order a little bit. John Pierce. I've watched him in juniors play a lot. In seniors, how did you feel watching him in person? Has he put on any weight? He's not a thick individual, I'll say that.
Definitely still could get in the weight room a little bit, I think. Looked like a great player, though. Very athletic, very quick. And I think that's, to his advantage in this game, able to get to the front of the net, with ease at times. but with being a little undersized, he's going to take some heavy shots, which we saw in both games. He was a little roughed up, but thankfully able to get back out there and resume playing. But I really like the look of his game, and I think if he sticks with it and continues to develop his game over the years, he'll be a big player for the Redhawks in the future.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to. And so many of these guys, it's when you're learning the Can-Am, it's a physical league. Like Kebby said, keep your feet moving. You can't stop
Oh,
them.
yeah.
But what happened here to the defense of Onondaga? 1, 2, 3, 4 up guard, 2 guys. You got 3 of them down low. Every comment on Instagram about this post was, what was the defense doing? Yeah.
Oh, my God. The comments had me dying when I was looking at that. I don't know what happened. Just clearly a miscommunication in defense there for Onondaga. And you can't leave a guy like Gates Abrams all alone on the crease. He's got such a nice, slick mitts, soft touch for the big man. He's going to bury it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
As he did there.
Oh yeah, he's gotten so much faster too. It's crazy. There was a huge kick save from Fergola. You did a great job clipping the highlights. Thanks for making sure we got the goalies and some of the D highlights.
Oh yeah, we gotta get the highlights. I mean, JP Fergola was giving us highlights. I'm just pressing the buttons. Joel Watson had a great game as well.
So that's what I was gonna say.
Great goaltender play all around.
Yeah, having Joel Watson there, that is such a big thing for the Braves. I mean, he takes up so much room and is a position style goalie. But man, Onondaga, they just breed lacrosse players there. I'm telling you, like 2-way lacrosse players. Mason Homer, another exciting guy there. There's another huge save by Fergola. But actually, somebody told me that one was a pipe. I think that one might have been as well. I don't know. It's crazy. Grennan, getting to watch him has been a blast. They are so fast. They move the ball, unbelievable. What did you think about this one? There's some comments about him diving at the goalie. He doesn't look like he takes out his legs. He kind of lands underneath him. Fergola actually kind of drops on his head, it looks like.
Yeah, trying to get a look at it here. Tough to tell. But for Tonawanda, you mentioned, Joel Watson and, the addition of him. I really like the addition, obviously, of course, of Nathan Grennan, but how about Zach Belter joining the Braves this year as well? He was rocking the 76 for Tonawanda. I thought he did a good job in that game as well. Still a little wild sometimes in his defensive stance, especially when he comes out to challenge his attacker, but a very solid defender that'll bring a lot to this Tonawanda team, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to see him back in the Can-Am. I mean, honestly, so he, grew up in the area. So for him, this is pretty local. He played for the Tomahawks, is where we first got a chance to meet him. But I think he was, right off the pipe. He was with St. Catharines last year, I believe. But yeah, no, glad to see him back.
Go ahead. I was going to say Belter, a product of Niagara Wheatfield here locally, the former Falcon, a proven winner, as you mentioned, a guy who spent time with the Tuscarora Tomahawks, won a Can-Am championship with Tusky a few seasons ago, and of course has won the last 2 world championships in the National Lacrosse League.
Yeah, I forget that one. Those don't count. The Can-Am championships are way more important to me. So he's got a Can-Am championship. He's hoping to get another one.
And a silver medal.
The silver medal is really cool.
We'll give him a silver medal at the Worlds. That's pretty impressive as well.
Yeah,
he was on Team USA.
Yeah, it's impressive just to make that Bandits roster, really, because I mean, you look at the defense they have, and it's amazing. You're scratching guys. You're scratching some of the most talented guys in the league some nights. Yeah.
Like Ron John, yeah.
Another former Can-Am player.
Anywhere, yeah.
And they were actually, they were
player
teammates together. Right. Yeah, they were teammates together at Tusky. Maybe we'll get him back here one of these days. Oh, he loves that behind the back shot. He almost got it there.
Friends reunited, as we take a look at the rest of the highlights. For me, Greg, with this Tonawanda team, something that really has impressed me is, like we were talking about with Allegheny, it's like their depth that they have, especially like at forward. I mean, you can throw out Gates Abrams, Waylon Abrams, Kent Baker Printup, along with the rest of that team. And
you didn't even mention like Owen Hill, who's like the leading scorer in the league.
Yeah. And Owen Hill, yeah. Former
Yeah.
scoring champion Owen Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane though, like you said,
Just
the amount of
the
depth.
litany of talent.
Yeah. Oh. And somebody,
And
Zach
then when you
Terry.
get guys like Zach Terry, Terry, he's not on the team this year. I believe he's up playing in the MSL.
I
I don't
thought so.
recall which team, but he's not on the team this year. But I mean, of course, like Avery Steinbeck Parker as well, and a young player. And then some of their defenders, you know, like Ian Dolak has been somebody I've really liked watching. Dan Kritkowski, a guy who can really push the pace in transition for them. Another former Tuscarora Tomahawk. And then Taylor Jensen, of course. We didn't get to see him in this game, but I know he's been a big addition for Tonawanda this year.
Well, when you talk about the defense of the Braves, I think the biggest thing is they have that's a amazing behind the back goal. That was crazy. But the biggest thing really for me is they have a great mix of guys. You've got some monsters out there. You know, you've got some of your big guys. You got Lee Abrams, the Stu Sundown. Like you just go up and down the roster, Keenan Ninham. But you also have a lot of two-way transition players that can fly. You got Jensen, Jonathan. You're always forgetting somebody, and I feel terrible when we do it, but yeah.
Kritkowski.
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about Anthony D'Amico, who is a very solid face-off guy and a very strong defender. So, yeah, I mean, up and down that roster you go. And honestly, so D'Amico being able to take the face-offs and being that good on defense, he's been known to get up the floor a little bit himself too. So, yeah, they have more options than most, but both of these teams do. Hey, we got JP waving in the comments. Get ready, JP. You're about to watch another bunch of your highlights. Got to black that one out.
And you mentioned Anthony D'Amico there for a second. You know, the product of Roberts Wesleyan University. He really can fly up the floor. And I think for Tonawanda, it's that balance of having those big guys that can play that real physical game, like you mentioned there, you know, Stu Sundown, of course, Belter, and among others. And then having those guys that can fly up the floor as well, giving you that balance for your team is, I think, a big thing for the Braves this year.
Absolutely. And most of their offensive guys will go back and even take a shift or two. And we didn't even talk about Cam Seneca, who started playing attack when we first started covering the league, is now the captain of the defense, helping run all the film. So, yeah, we hadn't even mentioned Cam Seneca. When you go, there's so much in this league that happens. But, yeah, Kluche making his presence known right off the bat, I see.
Yeah, Kluch was, as you said, made his presence known right from the start. He was, you know, on fire in this game. Of course, a great shooter among many others on that team. Really in his bag right away, able to get it over to Fraser as well, who had a lot of good chances. Lane Smith, of course, was on fire. But here we see the transition for them. Xavier Taylor as well. I don't think he got that one in right there, but Taylor has definitely been a threat for this Allegheny team. He
buried the first one.
I've seen him taking some more shifts on O too this year.
I was just going to say they've been running him out of both doors. So what do you think about that? A lot of these teams will do that. They run a guy out of the offensive door that you know can stay back or play defense. And you also, I mean, a lot of teams will run a guy on defense that they can send up, but not as much with the guy on offense that will come back. I think that's a huge advantage. You're shooting on Goa Abrams or what is it? I've drawn a blank now.
Chase Martin.
Jeepers. I can't believe I forgot that because he's honestly one of my favorite goalies like ever. And I always argue that I think he should be playing somewhere in the NLL. But I
make that argument too.
Frank Brown.
Yeah, no, to your point though, I think it is a huge advantage to have a guy that can track back when he's on offense, go back and play D, because that helps to slow transition. That gets you at least one guy that you know is going to be going back there that can try and slow that movement. Whereas if everybody's going to the bench, you just got to hope you can get your runners out the back door quick enough to come out and close down the angle and take the shot away. And I know you got two great goalies in there, but you don't want to give anybody point blank chances, of course.
No, especially the offense and the transition in this league. They can make you pay for it quick. Did you ever find out who the mystery man was here that scores on the he kind of like gets around him and dunks it right over the top of his shoulder?
Is that number 91 there?
Yes.
That's Mr. Bryson Jones. I apologize to him. I did not have his name at the start. And we're missing a couple numbers, but thank you to the the friendly kids down in Allegheny, they ran all the way over to the other side while we were live, got me the numbers. So I appreciate their efforts for that. So we can give Bryson Jones his credit there as he was able to get Onondaga on the board.
And so this going into the box, obviously a penalty. This was funny because I only really watched the clips and then I scanned for the game to grab the one where off of the face-off they knocked the Allegheny player into the bench, or the Onondaga player, sorry, into their own bench.
Yeah, he got the early line change there.
Yeah, that's what you called it.
Yeah. But it was all good. Everybody was all right, thankfully, getting back up and able to keep playing. But yeah, that did make for a bit of a funny moment.
Funny moment.
There you see it right there.
Yeah, thankfully he didn't land on the bench, and I love he just steps in and like he's like, I'm changing anyways. You guys figure it out. But yeah,
just helping him off a little bit earlier.
Monster hit there. But
yeah, just a real good game here, and you can see Allegheny pushing it up the floor again. Cloutier stepping in, firing, and no doubt about that one ended up in the back of the net. He is, if you give him room to step in and shoot, good luck to any goalie in the world who's got to stop that shot, because he can pick the corner with the best of them.
Yeah. No, he is. He's got a phenomenal shot. He's one of those guys great at shooting with the eyes of the stick. Will reach around and put it in. Fraser's, highlight goals is what he mainly scores, but
he's just got that aura that allows him to go for those goals, the confidence to do it. I mean, it's ridiculous. The sports center instincts, I guess we could call them, for Fraser, because he seems to have that flair for the dramatics. As we see Frank Brown push the ball up the floor for Allegheny, he's such a good player for them, and a welcome addition to that team. I know he was on the team last year as well, but I really think Frank Brown can really build off this year in Can-Am and try and get back into the NLL, because he's a very talented player.
Well, and I feel like we don't give enough credit to the transition of Allegheny. That is a huge part of their game. We just talked about it with Tonawanda. I mean, all of these teams, and I really think it's what makes the Can-Am the league that it is, though, is you've got so many of these local guys that can play transition and push pace of the floor and get up it, and then Cloutier just ripping bombs, man. That is insane.
And when you can supplement that great local talent with a few outside additions like a Cloutier, a Fraser, Watts, what have you, that makes for a really good team. And I think Allegheny and Tonawanda both have gotten a lot of guys that, to use like a baseball term here, Greg, are a lot of the 4A kind of guys that maybe don't have enough games to qualify as like your NLL player. Somebody like Watts, who only appeared in one game, but are still uber talented and, great enough to be difference makers at this level. And they don't qualify as NLL guys. I think, adding more players like that could be really where it's at here with the new rules in place.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to make it tough every year, because as these guys are getting shots and playing up in the pros, you're going to have to replace, local guys. And it's a very, it gets confusing, when you're talking about it, because it's like 3. Well, how many games did he play? Well, everybody's like, well, I know this guy played here. It's like, well, did he really play? It is, the politics of it, I don't really care to dive into too much usually, but I don't know. My favorite thing is you watch all these guys show up with their kids. They're playing the top level guys. You get to see a guy like, John Pierce, or like Amos Whitcomb, who played last year for the team, but he gets to play with these top level. Oh, what a save, JP. But he gets to play with these top level guys. And then when he goes up into the, up into the MSL, it's a huge difference.
Yeah. And this gives you that little taste of the action here. And, like you mentioned too, it's great with the mix of players, as you mentioned. A lot of guys that maybe are older, never maybe got to the NLL, or
speaking of which, yeah, JP really appreciated you calling him a young and up and comer. It made him feel young. I believe JP is pretty close to my age. We're not very young and up and comers, but we do appreciate the occasional mistake in identity. But when you play like that, that happens.
I mean, I don't think it's hard to believe that he looks like he's 20 years old out there. He was moving great. He was making highlight save after highlight save. I did see JP see some pictures of him after the game, and yeah, I realized I made the mistake, but I don't. I think it's okay.
No, it's
I think
definitely a
we can live
compliment.
with
It's
that one.
definitely a compliment.
Yeah,
Anybody loves being called younger, so we're good with that. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, he got himself a nice highlight reel after this weekend because he faced a ton of shots, as we mentioned, and he did a admirable job in there for Onondaga to give them a chance in these games as the breakaway was able to be stopped there, I believe, as
yeah.
he really was tested all game long.
Oh yeah. No, it's actually pretty much every game that I've had where the goalies had like an amazing highlight reel put together has been versus the Allegheny Arrows. I will say that. Like we watched Jackson Longboat 120 saves in one game. JP got that in the weekend. The Allegheny offense is just so potent. I mean, look at that powerhouse that's out there right now. It's insane the amount of talent they have on offense.
I mean, you can run Chris Cloutier, Chase Fraser, Xavier Taylor, Chris Atwood, and Christian Watts as a five-man unit. I mean, that's not even taking into account righty-lefty mix. I mean,
Yeah.
good God.
Yeah.
Like, that is a great unit. And you got, guys like Josh Becker coming off the bench as well.
Keenan
Frank
Kobe
Brown can
Whitcomb.
get up there. Whitcombs weren't even in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no shortage of options
No.
for Allegheny, that's for sure. And then, of course, you got my guy Chris Janice down there, the veteran, was a scratch in that game, but he's another guy that's a great option for the Arrows off the bench.
Yeah, Cale Anderson can play some offense. He plays defense a lot. It's a great option to be able to run guys out of both doors. I mean, that you set yourself up. There's the helmet lock together. I knew,
Yeah.
yeah, you like that one. Woo-hoo.
That one got me. I will admit that one definitely got me to laugh on air, but that was a funny moment. Don't see that every day. This game really had it all, I felt, Craig. It was quite an entertaining game. Despite, the score line, it was still, really, really a good quality product here between the two teams as something we were talking about at the top of the game, Greg. What do you think of the jersey matchup here in this one? Teams were rocking some throwbacks.
Yeah, the blue throws me off because I never think it's Onondaga. I've seen it, but yes, it always throws me off. Charity actually said that too. She's like, I keep wanting to say, because she's seen Tonawanda wear blue jerseys before, so she's like, I think that's what I'm thinking. I do like the throwback jerseys. It's cool to see. I traditionally, I recognize Onondaga and their reds, but, that's just me being my old man style.
You think it throws you off? Oh, my goodness. Especially against Allegheny, who is usually wearing the blue.
Yeah, yeah, that must have been
but
tough.
No, I think they're both cool looking jerseys. I love the throwbacks. I love that we're able to honor the history. But yeah, I definitely think of Onondaga in the red, white, and black. I mean, you can't go wrong with that color scheme. And then of course Allegheny and their awesome yellow and blues. My favorite colors. So I gotta give them the support there. But what a great weekend of games that we had, Greg. I know I had the 3 in 3 days. It was so fun to be a part of, and yeah, I'm glad Jason and I were able to cover them all for you.
Yeah, no, that was amazing that you guys knocked them out this weekend. We're going to be down in Allegheny on Friday. You're going to be in Tonawanda on Saturday. Super excited. I mean, we'll be there for a bit. I don't even know if we're staying because I got to get home. I'd like to be home at some point. Otherwise, I get home at 2:00 in the morning is always my problem. If we stay till the game is over, it never quite works, right? But we've got a brand new I was gonna say brand new Trevor, which we've had Trevor for a little bit, so he's not quite brand new. But the thanks to
lightly used.
Yes, thanks to Cannabis Club and all of our other sponsors, we've got a brand new camera coming to Trevor for the game, so they are going to get even better. We absolutely support our local sponsors. We appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a blast. I can't believe it went out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so great. Thank you to Cannabis Club for their support. I was trying to point to them on the screen, but I think I went the wrong way there.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
There we go.
They're down there. Be sure to check them out. somewhere's down there.
Go there. They're located in Salamanca.
Salamanca. So they're down
Well,
in the.
and honestly, so like every time we go out to these games, I always stop at the sponsors before we go there. So it's one of my favorite things to do. If you happen to want to see the BSPN crew, if you hang out at one of our sponsors before the games, there's a very good chance you're going to see us there. We love getting to stop in, talk to everybody. It is the best. Got Utica Yeti in the comments. We didn't even get to talk about the Utica games on Inside the World of Box Lacrosse, but we had a full slate there. The NABLL is going nuts. We have former Tusky Tomahawk Jr., Zach Blount, tearing it up as he has been forever. A lot of young guys getting after it in there. I would love to see the Can-Am send their number 2 team to the NABLL championships. I seen some people posted. It's the Picking Corners podcast on the Box Lacrosse channel. Check them out if you guys haven't. But they put up a list of their top, basically American teams. But they had a big miss by not putting the Can-Am in there because they only counted the NABLL and the BLL, so they don't really count it because they go up and play in the CLL stuff. So I do understand why they did like they did, but I would really like to see some of those games. I know Oneida scrimmaged against a couple of the teams, so that would be interesting. Oneida has had their brand new team in the league. They just lost to the Yeti in a close game. They were very close to the Spirits, and then it kind of got blown out of the water after Jobson lit it up with his very Frazier-like, one hand behind the back goal in the Thousand Island Spirits game. Check that one out on our Instagram if you haven't seen it. That was amazing. Love seeing that. And I love seeing the older guys that aren't full-time professional athletes be able to do it because that's the best part for me is when you get to capture those moments. So glad he had a couple different angles. They got doing great things up there. What do you got going on this week, Trevor? Because you don't just do Blue Squad stuff. Tell everybody else where they can find you, like if they want to find you on a Bison's game and some of the other stuff you do.
Yeah, I was at the Bison's game last night. Be sure you can check out any of my socials, tbutz82, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. Hoping for some more Can-Am games this weekend. I know with our First Nations game, we're talking about maybe being down in Tonawanda tomorrow. We don't have anything solidified yet, but the hope is to be there. So hopefully we can get that game covered for everybody because that should be an exciting game as they got to take on Six Nations
Absolutely.
in the junior league. But you mentioned as well you'll be down in Allegheny for their home game. That one should be exciting. They got a rivalry game against Newtown, which was one that I know everybody has circled on the calendar at the start of the year. Grand River's got a home game this weekend as well, but we're going to be down on Saturday in Tonawanda as the Braves have a rematch against the Red Hawks from the matchup a week ago. That should once again be another exciting game. Hopefully we have, a bit closer of a game. Tonawanda kind of jumped on them real early in that last meeting and kind of had it over before it really got going. But hopefully Onondaga brings their strong, larger numbers, and can give the Braves a good game here as Tonawanda split their weekend going 1-1. They had the tough game up in Six Nations losing against Grand River this past weekend. So big weekend coming up for, both Tonawanda and Onondaga especially.
Yeah, no, it's a big weekend for everybody to kind of solidify their places. If you are interested in sponsoring any of these streams, please write to us on social media. We've got a little flyer we can send out to everybody. We do appreciate all the support. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing it. Or join the channel membership down below. All of the podcast videos that we do are strictly because we have some channel members, because without their support, we would not be able to spend the time doing it. Lots of podcasts coming up in the future. Trevor, I really appreciate all the work you put into this. If anybody's wondering, Trevor actually builds all these graphics for us, keeps track of the stats. So if we reach out to you wondering some scores, it's because we're trying to get some things put together. Huge shout out Marshall Paulus. He was the first one to get back to me with what happened in that game. So I do appreciate it. And we will see everybody in a couple of days. Thanks, and we'll see you, also next week on this show.